And welcome back. Here we are with the Mark IV Hurricane. Now, in the British tech tree, this is such an early on aircraft that really everybody should have this. This is an aircraft that I had to go back and research, but is definitely worth getting. At a 1.7 BR, it's actually a very good aircraft with a twin 40mm Vickers on it. Now, I will hasten to add, you have 15 shots with this, 15 pulls of the trigger, you have 30 rounds. So, use your ammo wisely. This is not something you can just spray and pray. You have to be careful with when you shoot and what you shoot at. Now, as you'll see in the video, something I want to add is because of the gun convergence with how far away the guns are, you actually need to aim slightly off target, whether it be slightly to the left or right, or horizontally. Vertically, you can always aim directly at the target, if not slightly above. But always aim slightly to the left or to the right, so you guarantee at least one of the rounds hitting. Now, that takes a little bit of practice, but when I mean slightly, I really mean essentially if you're looking directly onto an aircraft, essentially within like a degree or two to the left or to the right, to ensure that one of the rounds hits. But that takes a little bit of practice. Now, as the aircraft overall, it's actually kind of a sucky aircraft in terms of... Now, the regular Hurricane's good, don't get me wrong, but because of the added weight and the added drag and everything else, it makes this aircraft slower. It makes the aircraft a little lethargic. Though a good thing is at least it has war emergency power on it. But that's its kind of only saving grace. The rate of climb's pretty crap. The turn time's pretty good. And the reason you can make it really great is because you can throw... This one actually has combat flaps. And you can use the landing flaps. So it's quite effective if you know how to use them. However, if you're new and you don't really know when to use them, here's a quick little tip. Combat flaps below 230 miles an hour, and landing flaps below 180, 170. You can convert that to kilometers an hour, but if you use the flaps under those speeds, you generally aren't going to rip them, and they can help reduce your turn time. Now, the combat flaps should bring you down by about 2 seconds, and the landing flaps bring you down by about 4 or 5. Now, here's the other issue. Remember, you're adding drag, so you're going to be going more slowly, and this is already a slow aircraft. So if you're using those flaps in a turn, make sure you're doing quick turns, 90 degrees, 180 at the most, and make sure it's for 5-6 seconds at a time. If you leave them on for longer than that, you will lose so much speed, you will be forced to fly in level flight, and then you are exposed to the enemy. So yeah, this aircraft is a very opportunistic aircraft. It's all about making the most of the few seconds you have to engage. And that's the point of this thing. Basically, you play like you have a big pair of balls, you know exactly what you're doing, and you know you're going to hit the enemy. And with some practice, you will do it mostly every time. Now, I will hasten to add the playstyle for this aircraft, I really feel, which is very simple. Your first time out with those 30 rounds, 15 pulls of the trigger, you go out there and you get enemy aircraft. You don't worry about ground targets. And then, after you're done killing enemy aircraft or you're out of ammo, you go back to the base, rearm, repair, reload, and then worry about some ground targets. But really, the first flight out, it really should be about taking out enemy aircraft, particularly because they won't really expect you, or they'll see you and they think they'll assume that you're attacking ground targets when you're not. Now, the word of note is if you're playing this in arcade, this aircraft is kind of a beast because the ammo consumption isn't really a factor, and you can just spam all day long, and it's ridiculous. In Sim, I have played this, and I will say it's not very good in Sim. You have to be a far more skilled pilot. If you want to play Sim, I recommend the Spitfire Mark IIB, which that will be in an upcoming video. But anyways, so kind of before we get to the video, I want to wrap it up as this. If this is an aircraft, if it has anything like anything in terms of in World of Tanks, this thing reminds me of the Troll Cannon. This thing works well in some areas, but really doesn't others. It in some ways is actually quite overpowered, but in other ways very lacking. You have to use this thing exactly to its strengths. So the point is, if you can get into quick turn fights, I know it has a terrible rate of climb, but at the 1.7 BR, most people don't realize that altitude is your friend and your only advantage half the time. You can sometimes outclimb the enemy, as you'll see in the video. And quite frankly, you have to play it smart. So don't expect to outrun every opponent. Don't expect to outturn every opponent, but use what you can about the flight model and being a better pilot. And that's really what this thing is about. In the hands of a good pilot, this is an excellent aircraft. It's deadly. In the hands of a terrible pilot, they are going to yell and scream all day and then just end up getting pissed off and just shooting ground targets. Which this thing is still effective at ground targets, but I think you're missing the point of what makes this thing fun and entertaining and exciting. But anyways, so without further ado, let's go watch the video. Hello and welcome back. So here we are. We're facing the Japanese. It seems like lately all I ever do is face the Japanese, but that's beside the point. So here you are with the Hurricane. So essentially we are taking off, making a little bit of a left turn. We're leveling off, but alright, so we're here with myself and my good buddy Stonewall. Now, this is something that's a little bit different. I know historically this never faced the Japanese. This was an aircraft that primarily in the Battle of Britain faced the Germans, but basically face the Germans is just only slightly different, being the 109s can't turn nearly the way you can, neither can the HE-112. Actually, the HE-112s can a little bit, but the point is you cannot turn any of those guys, so you can pretty much do what I'm doing here at all the BRs. Because that's the funny thing. Below a 3.3 BR, you face so many people that don't know what they're doing that, quite frankly, it's really an anything goes kind of situation. Unless, very rarely you face skilled opponents at this BR. So anyways, it looks like we got a couple Buffaloes on our team. They got, looks like, what, a couple KI-10s, a KI-43. We have another Spitfire. There's a few things. Oh, there's a B5N2 spot in the background. Anyways, I'm just kind of flying along, looking around. Well, that kind of happens with this aircraft a lot. There's a lot of downtime. But notice how slow this thing is. Even in a climb, I'm doing 168 miles an hour. With 100% throttle at like 10 degrees. This thing does not climb well. Not at all. But anyways. So there's a KI-43 up high. He's going to stay there for a little while. But I'm not really too concerned about, because even if he comes in on a dive, I will just outturn him. And I'm also going to kind of count on the fact that he is just going to completely overturn, overshoot, over-G, and either rip his wings or completely go by me. So, as I was flying at this point, I was noticing there's some targets up ahead. You can see a little speck. I nose up for the KI-43, then realized, nope, that ain't gonna happen. Ooh, there's a KI-27. He spots me, I spot him. Here we go. We're going in. I put one shot out, didn't aim it right. I wait till I get close enough. Put it on a bang. Oh, miss it? Bang. There we go. Set him on fire. Slightly aimed to the side and got him. So he's on fire. And, of course, being Japanese plane, will give us all an 80% chance that he will be going down. There's an A5M4. And I take a shot, miss, take a shot, bang. Second one on fire. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm liking how this is going. KI-45. Now this is where I'm going to get a good view of him. Bang. Third kill. So these guns are surprisingly high velocity. These guns are quite accurate. And that's why, really, in the span of, what was that, about 18, 20 seconds? Able to get 3 kills. So I'm not saying that this aircraft is that easy. I've had a bit of practice with this, and this was before Stonewall and I had flown quite a few matches in this thing beforehand. It's an aircraft that, with some practice, you can become quite proficient in it. And I will say, this is an aircraft, the reason I'm stressing this is because it's a great aircraft to just have some fun in. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been getting really stressed out with the F-84B lately. It's just been killing me on that saber grind. But anyways, so KI-43 at long range, I'm not going to hit him. I was just throwing out shots because I had another 10 pulls of the trigger. Actually, probably another 5 at this point. KI-43 goes in the turn. I'm trying to get him, and he just turns so quickly, I have no chance. Stonewall, and I'm flying very close there. That's a little too close for comfort. KI-43, now notice I deployed the combat flaps. Now mind you, I'm doing 120 miles an hour. Look at how slow the speeds are with this aircraft, even in a dive. This is not a fast aircraft. But I get his wing, and he's done. So every time he hit the target, it's pretty much dead. So alright, we're at 4 kills now. And, well, Stonewall's trying to get the kill. Spitfire's on him, and the Buffalo's on him. I'm trying to climb up, but notice I'm down to 100 miles an hour. And, whoop, the other guy sets him on fire. I'm trying to turn with him. I'm thinking about stealing the kill, and then I say no. Stonewall tries to steal it, but no, he ain't gonna have it today. So, that's that kill. So, notice, if you guys want to even go back and notice through the replay, how slow this thing is. And there's a beautiful shot, by the way, with Stonewall in the background. I love the cinematics in this game. But anyways, notice how slow this aircraft is, and that's the common problem. It seems like if this had a vastly more powerful engine, this aircraft would be seriously scary. But that's why it's at a 1.7 BR, is quite frankly, you don't have the engine horsepower to do extreme maneuvers. So, stay away from doing that is my point. Use the energy that you have, gain some altitude, and really play this aircraft to the best of your ability, but play it smart. Notice every aircraft that I faced, it was a one-on-one engagement. Don't do multiple. If you got 2 enemy aircraft, you aren't going to be able to outclimb them half the time, and once they get you low on energy, you're trapped, because this thing suffers from the energy trap. Oh, there's Stonewall. Nice little picture there. But anyways, you get energy trapped very easily with this aircraft. Now, this is a funny little thing. Stonewall was going to try and kill me at the end, and I just kept denying him, but anyways, he was thinking about killing me. This aircraft, this game's just beautiful in the movie. But anyways, I know I keep getting distracted. But that's kind of the point with this thing. Just don't get energy trapped. Force the enemy to do what you need them to do to win. And stay with your allies a little bit. Basically, this is a really good aircraft to have like a mile or two away from allies. So that kind of sums up in terms of this game. So I will say in closing, get this aircraft. If it's so cheap, it's so inexpensive, it's easy to operate, it doesn't cost that much to operate, and you can learn how to do well with it and just have some fun. In terms of stress relief, I can't say it enough. It's totally worth getting. I recommend it to anybody. And if you don't like it, you at least have something in custom games you have some fun with. But alright, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and I shall catch you next time.